In this sponsored video, we'll be doing a quick overview of the Phemex exchange. Let's jump right into it. So Phemex has been around since 2018 and they're considered to be a top exchange by many in the industry. You can see that they have a very solid rating here on TradingView as well. But let's jump into it and take a look at some of their features. So first of all, we of course are able to buy crypto on this exchange. You can see that you can buy it with one click, and you can also deposit fiat into this exchange and go ahead and convert it into crypto. There's also the ability to buy with a credit or debit card, and of course P2P trading. And if we scroll down here to look at some highlights, they do have futures trading, as I'm sure a lot of you already trade with. They have up to $1.28 billion in trading volume in the past 24 hours, which is very, very solid, over 460 pairs. And in terms of their spot markets, they have just under $130 million worth of trading volume with over 500 spot pairs. They also allow you to set up your own trading bots, which basically let you use automated trading strategies. And then we have their lending protocol, which lets you borrow crypto on this exchange with a total available liquidity of just over $22 million. And if you click on the markets tab, you get a pretty good overview of what's available on Phemex. Of course, spot with all of the trading pairs. We also have futures. We also have margin over here, and then we have the new listings. So for those of you that like trading newly listed tokens, this is where you'd like to be. Now in terms of futures, because this is where most of you are probably trading, they have the USDM perpetual contracts. They also have the CoinM perpetual contract. The difference between the two is this is essentially using a stable coin like USDT to trade these assets, but here you're using the asset itself. That means, for example, if we were to take AVAX, if you have a bunch of AVAX, you can go ahead and trade this with leverage. They also have Pilot, which is a pretty interesting feature where basically you can trade these new coins with high leverage to amplify your returns. They have copy trading, as many exchanges do, where you can try and find the most profitable traders that you can go ahead and copy from. As I mentioned earlier, the trading bots, they even have leaderboards to see who is the top trader on the Phemex exchange. And lastly, under the futures tab, they have mock trading, which lets you trade with zero risk. It's basically a demo account. Now let's take a look at the perpetual interface. If I click here on Bitcoin, we can see how their exchange looks. As a standard option, they have all of these moving averages, which are already selected on the chart. And you can see this is exactly how you can trade on Phemex. So basically you have the option of a limit order, which lets you actually enter a Bitcoin trade at the price that you want to enter at. For example, let's say Bitcoin is now sitting at around $105,200 and I want to enter a Bitcoin long if the price goes down to $105,000. Here I'm able to open around 5% of my capital for this trade, and I'm on cross margin at a 10x leverage. So if we click open long, what we can see here is that if Bitcoin were to retrace all the way down to $105,000, which is just a couple $100 away, I would be entering a Bitcoin long. And the cool thing about this is that you can actually drag where your entry price is. For example, if Bitcoin starts dumping aggressively and I want to get in a little bit lower, I could be entering right here at this support level. And as we can see, my order just changed. Now, this is for limits. So let's go ahead and exit that position. And if we are to go on market, this would go ahead and allow you to open a trade immediately. So let's say I think that Bitcoin will dump. I can go ahead and open a quick Bitcoin short, and I would automatically get entered at the best possible value. Now, we should also quickly talk about the difference between cross and isolated. Cross basically means that if I am to open a trade with 10% of my capital here, it will still grab the rest of my capital to keep my position open if the price goes against where I thought it was headed. So what I mean by this is if I enter a Bitcoin long right around these levels and Bitcoin starts dumping, it will go ahead and grab some of my total capital here, which is around $1,000, to keep me in the trade. However, I typically do recommend isolated, which means whatever capital you use here is the max capital that will be taken from this trade. So if the price action moves against you, you can only stand to lose that amount of money. Let's say I want to trade with $200 here. I could only lose $200 on isolated. Then we have, of course, the trading bot. You have the futures grid, the futures martingale, and you also have the signal trading. And if we take a look at how it's organized here, you can actually categorize by which token you prefer trading. So for example, if I like Ethereum, and then we have SUI, and then we have XRP that I'd like to add to my favorites tab, we can see that they get added automatically here, and you have quick access to be able to trade these tokens. Now let's take a look at their spot offerings. We have, of course, traditional spot trading, which lets you swap between different tokens. For example, if I have the stablecoin USDT and I want to buy some Pepe, I can go ahead and buy that on spot and then just hold it. without any leverage. Then they have an interesting option which actually lets you trade specifically meme coins. You can easily convert between different cryptocurrencies here. They have their own launchpad, and again, they have their trading bots. Now, one thing with Phemex is that they do have a pretty interesting earn section, which lets you actually earn steady income with your crypto passively. They have a savings option and they have a launch pool. So if we click on the earn tab, we can see that with these token offerings, you can earn a certain amount of APY. For example, 10% of USDC, or we can earn 3% on our Bitcoin and 5% on our USDT. This is a pretty solid option to have your money work for you. Then their Web3 wallet side of things allows staking, and you also get this thing called a Soul Pass, which is an on-chain passport to their Web3 ecosystem. They also have token benefits. Of course, most exchanges have this. So if you hold the exchange's token, you do get benefits on the platform, such as trading fee discounts, staking yield, VIP privileges, deposit cashback airdrops, DAO governance, and Launchpad and Launch Pool access. And a few more tabs before we wrap up this quick tutorial overview. They have their Learn section. Anything you want to learn about cryptocurrency, you can learn here on the Phemex platform. And I do like that they have their own promotions tab. So you can always see what's going on in terms of Phemex promotions. That means how can you enter the VIP program? How can you earn from their referral program? What can you actually get back from the rewards hub? All of these things are nicely organized within one tab. And if you hover over this wallet, you can see your total assets on Phemex. And the cool thing is that they also have proof of reserves. So if you click there, you can see that basically their reserve ratio for Bitcoin is 112%. The reserve ratio for ETH is 114%. And their reserve ratio for USDT is sitting right around 107%. That means that they essentially have more than what their customers have on the platform. Proof of reserves are always a great sign. And that sums up this quick sponsored tutorial overview of Phemex. If you want to sign up to this exchange, you have the first link in my description down below of this video. There's also a fantastic bonus that awaits you. I'll see you in the next video.